Welcome to The Explainer. If you're running a sign shop, an interior fit-out crew, or a cladding business, you already know that material sourcing can often be a total headache. But today, we're bringing you some serious clarity. We're unpacking a highly detailed guide from FIDAR System on sourcing, pricing, and fabricating aluminum composite material panels, or ACM, right here in Canada. We're going to break down the exact costs, the sizes you can actually get your hands on, and how fast a top-tier supplier can get these materials onto your truck. So, let's start with a really crucial question that is completely reshaping the industry as we know it. Why are cladding crews and sign shops rapidly abandoning heavy, backbreaking solid aluminum for composites? What's driving this massive shift across Canadian job sites? Well, it all comes down to a perfect storm of efficiency, weight reduction, and predictable costs. And we're going to explore all of that right now. Here is our blueprint for today's explainer. First, the ACM panel advantage. Second, transparent pricing and finishes. Third, sizing and cutting strategies. Fourth, selecting the right panel. And finally, ordering from FIDAR System. We're taking you from basic specs to live warehouse pricing.
Okay, Section 1, the ACM panel advantage. Let's look at the real-world advantages on the shop floor to understand what makes this material so revolutionary.
By definition, the standard ACM panels we're talking about today are 3 millimeters thick. They feature a highly specialized core, usually polyethylene or a mineral mix, securely sandwiched between 0.2 or 0.3 millimeter painted aluminum faces. That sandwich structure? It's basically an engineered solution giving you the absolute best of both worlds, the smooth, pristine finish of metal, combined with a lightweight, rigid core. And this brilliantly illustrates the difference. A 3mm ACM panel gives you incredibly high stiffness, but it cuts smoothly on a standard CNC router or just a simple circular saw with a carbide blade. You can even V-groove it for perfect 90-degree returns. One quick tip though, keep it far away from a laser cutter. On the flip side, solid aluminum is so much heavier and requires serious heavy-duty machinery like a shear and a brake press just to manipulate it. The magic number here is 16. A full 4 by 8 foot ACM sheet weighs roughly 16 kilograms, which is about 5.5 kilos per square meter. What does that actually mean for you? It means 2 people can easily carry it, move it around the shop, and hang it on a facade entirely by hand, without any heavy lifting gear or excessive structural framing. The labor savings here are absolutely immense. Moving right along to Section 2, transparent pricing and finishes. Because at the end of the day, a great material is only viable if the math actually works for your business. Check out these live numbers straight from FIDAR System's North York shelves. Standard white matte on both sides is just $57.44. If you upgrade to a brushed silver face, it's $67.44. And the absolute premium mirror silver, which uses a slightly thicker face, caps at $127.44. For context, if you're a sign shop pricing out flat-cut directional panels, that standard white matte breaks down to just $1.80 per square foot. That's a fraction of what you'd pay for the equivalent in acrylic. I really want you to focus on this number for a second. $57.44 Canadian. That's the exact entry price. And astonishingly, 5 of the 8 available factory finishes sit at this exact same price point. The takeaway here? Choosing colored backs like pastel green or sea blue over plain white costs you absolutely nothing extra. You literally only pay a premium when the face texture itself changes to a gloss, brushed, or mirror finish. Section 3, sizing and cutting strategies. The way you procure your material is just as important as the material itself, and your choices here directly impact the bottom line. Every panel stocked by FIDAR is a standard 4 by 8 foot sheet, or 1220 by 2440 millimeters in metric. Why this specific size? Because it maps perfectly onto storefront fascia runs, cladding grids, and standard signage layouts, drastically minimizing your waste. It's the undisputed workhorse dimension that Canadian crews design around every single day. When you're deciding how to buy, remember that ordering cut to size adds a very small cutting fee, but it saves you massive amounts of heavy labor, saw setup time, and off-cut waste that would normally just end up in your bin. Full sheets, on the other hand, are your best bet if you prefer to cut in-house, want maximum flexibility across varied jobs, or you're just buffering stock for work that hasn't even been drawn yet. All right, Section 4, selecting the right panel. With prices this uniform, the decision becomes entirely about appearance, durability, and safety. Here's how professionals actually choose their finishes. For flat-cut and printed signs, white matte on both faces is the undisputed king. It outsells all the others combined because both sides are perfectly usable, meaning an off-cut is almost never scrap. Meanwhile, metallic and brushed silver absolutely dominate exterior facades and storefronts. And if you're outfitting premium interiors, lobbies, or retail feature walls, black gloss or mirror finishes take over completely. But beyond beautiful finishes, you have to pay close attention to building codes. Standard signage and low-rise exterior work use a polyethylene, or PE core. But if your panel is going onto an occupied multi-story building, Canadian codes usually require a fire-rated FR or A2 mineral-filled core. This traces back to those major fire safety failures that reshaped cladding codes worldwide. Always confirm the core requirement with your project's code review before you order. And finally, Section 5, ordering from FIDAR System. Let's dive into exactly how to get these panels onto your truck without the usual supply chain headaches. Ordering from a top-tier supplier like FIDAR System takes just one smooth, unified process. First, you send your specs and cut list. Second, you get a same-day quote that comprehensively prices the panels, the cutting, and the freight all together. Third, you confirm, and they fabricate it. They'll even V-groove your fold lines if needed. And fourth, you either collect it in North York or receive same-week delivery across the GTA. Fast, efficient, and predictable. So whether you need full 4x8 sheets to stock your racks or precision cut-to-size pieces ready for immediate installation, I invite you to evaluate the article for yourself and purchase your ACM panels in different sizes and 8 premium colors directly at fidarsystem.com. Having a supplier that actually carries deep, varied stock means the material fits the project, not the other way around. And here is a real game changer for your project margins. We do free delivery for orders above $700 CAD. Getting your materials shipped free straight to your local shop or site is a massive advantage when managing costs. Of course, terms and conditions apply, but it's just one more way to keep your operations lean and profitable. To wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this final thought. When lightweight composite solutions, totally transparent pricing, and instant same-week ordering are this accessible in Canada, why on earth are you still struggling with heavy metals and slow supply chains? The tools to build smarter, lighter, and more profitably are right here. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this deep dive empowers you to streamline your next project.